live, and we do it live. And we are here with two lovely ladies for another After Hours. And as you guys can see, we're going to have a great conversation as usual. And we're going to just hop right back into it. You guys know who I am, and we're going to find out who you lovely ladies are. All right, we're going to start right here. We'll start with you. And what's your name tonight?
My name is Cheryl.
Okay, Cheryl.
And I'm Ingrid.
Okay, and we have Ingrid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a list of questions. But before we get into the questions, the reason why this is such a fun time is because we have some people who are helping to sponsor this entire episode. And those people are Telson Tequila. And one of the things we want to make sure that we tell you guys is drink responsibly. If you're going to drink, make sure you eat a little bit before that. And please, don't drink an entire bottle by yourself. It's not healthy. You're not going to have as much fun as you thought, and you're probably not going to remember it. All right. So we want to make sure that though it's great, you're going to want to go through all of it. Drink responsibly and have a good time when you're drinking some Telson Tequila as well. Bold Content Studios. If you're here in Las Vegas and you want to have a nice place to be able to come, let's say, record a good entertainment event, be able to have a studio to be able to put on a show, maybe something that you want to do every now and then, come on over to Bold Content Studios. You can check out the website. We'll put the link below, and we'll also plug it onto the IG page. Once you guys follow us, you'll be able to get access to that as well. And then if you're somebody who's an athlete, maybe you played a sport back in the day, maybe you're somebody who wants to play a sport in the future, we have a private community called the Locker Room. And that's where you'll be able to get a little bit more resources. You'll get a little bit more behind the scenes on how we have these conversations. And you never know, maybe we'll connect you with some let's say lovely ladies like we have here tonight. Right. So we'll get right back into learning who Ingrid and Cheryl are. So I'm going to go through a list of questions. I'll start with you, Ingrid, and then I'll come over to you, Cheryl, and then we'll get to know you guys a little bit better and then get deeper into the conversation. How does that sound?
Great.
Okay, perfect. Don't scream at me, Ingrid, okay? All right. First, Ingrid, we'll start with how old are you?
I'm 34. I just turned 34.
Okay, all right. Happy birthday. Happy belated.
Thank you.
Next thing is, what is your highest level of education?
Diploma. And some college.
Okay, some college. Okay, no worries. The next thing is, what is your current occupation?
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a licensed financial professional, and I basically just educate families on how to build wealth.
Love it. If you guys out there, and hopefully she's good at it, check her out. The next thing is a question that we ask all of the people who come in on as guests. Have you ever been flown out?
No.
Okay. And lastly, are you in a relationship, single, or what's your relationship status?
A single.
Perfect. We're going to get more into the different, let's say, points of that conversation, but we'll move on over to Cheryl and get to know her a little bit better. So we'll start with you, Miss Cheryl. How old are you?
I am 67.
Okay. Shout out to Black Don't Crack, right? Come on now. All right. Next thing. What about your highest level of education?
I have my bachelor's in merchandising, minor in marketing.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. So she can sell you anything.
Yes.
She's selling ice to an Eskimo. Watch out. Okay. And then the next thing after that is relationship status.
I'm single.
Okay. All right. And then have you ever been flown out?
No, not really.
Okay.
No.
Not really. Possibly. Just to give context, has everybody ever paid for a plane ticket to have you come visit them?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
of course. Yes.
All right.
I have been. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. She's been flown out. All right.
I've had the offer, but
yes,
no.
Okay. All right. And
that I can say. Yes.
I'm not mad at that. And you, Ingrid, you said you had the offer.
Yeah, I've had offers.
All right.
No.
Now we have two different answers here, so that makes me have to ask the question: Had you taken the offer, would there have been an obligation? And with you taking the offer, was there an obligation for the next step to happen for sexual relations?
I think it's a choice.
Okay.
If I wanted to at that point, but I think the stigma is you usually don't want to take the offer because you feel like there is an obligation.
Sure.
But yeah, if both parties agree. why
Okay.
not?
You felt it was implied,
Mhm.
and that's why you're just like, no. I
Yeah,
decline.
no.
Okay.
I mean, I could fly on book my own trips.
Okay,
So it's
all
like,
right,
what are you
boss,
doing that's
boss,
different?
bitch. Okay, all right. And you, Miss Cheryl, what about you? The question was, do you think that there's an obligation to have sexual relations with somebody if they're paying for your plane ticket for you to come visit?
I think mostly they think that,
Mhm.
but no, I don't think there is an obligation to do anything. I mean, they're flying you out, and you're just going with the flow of the, wherever you're going.
Okay.
You're adventuring new places.
Got
New
you.
things.
Got you. Okay. All right. So you feel like it's just all about the vibe.
It's all about the vibe.
All right. All right. So we've tried this for the past couple episodes. So maybe, you guys will be able to help us out. Maybe you'll be able to help our crowd out and the people who watch these episodes coming on in the future. I've been asking, can you give me anything tangible to be able to describe what the vibe is?
I guess like something that can just happen authentically, that's not forced. Like I guess like if a woman who does accept the trip, she doesn't want to feel pressured, because then that makes you corny. And it's just like you didn't have to go through all these measures to fly someone in. Like you could have found that in the state that you live in.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I understand what you're saying there. All right. Essentially what she's saying is that if you try to just force it on it, just go really just like let's say outside of the bounds, then you really just look like a loser. You look like somebody who had to really make this happen. You had to bring somebody in because everybody else in your city was not fucking with you. That's what she's saying it feels like. All right. But she also gave no actual tangible things on what the vibe is. But it's okay. It's all right. Nobody else did either. Right? So I'll try with you, Cheryl. All right. What about you? Can you, since you brought it up, you were the person that was saying, you got to go with the flow. Maybe you can help us out. Maybe you help our male viewers out. What actually is the vibe?
Okay, the vibe is like you're going somewhere and you really are feeling this person is the vibe. I mean, you're really into this person. You want to be there. You flew there just to see, how things were going to go, and no other reason. Just flying there just to see, how things were going to work out.
Okay.
It's like, how long is this trip? Because if it's like a weekend, you got 24 hours to create a vibe, right?
Okay.
But if it's like a week and you have some time, then obviously there's no rush if you actually a man with some sort of like riz, right?
Sure. Okay. With some risk, some words to make you feel good.
Mhm.
Right. So what are some of those things? What are some of those things he can tell you to make you feel good? What are some of those things he can do possibly? Where can he take you? What are those things that put you in the atmosphere to say, you know what, that was a great vibe? I'm trying to help these guys out. I
I
wanna tell
think
them what I'm
honestly, a
doing.
man who pays attention to what you've been saying the whole time that led up to the trip, right? So if we've been just talking and now we're actually going to meet, and it's like, I hope that, you're not just talk, because talk is cheap.
Sure.
So
Sure.
everyone can afford it.
There you go. Actions speak louder than words. I understand what you're saying over there.
Mhm.
All right. Did you want to add anything to that? You were not in
I
the
pretty much
affirmatively.
agree with that.
Okay.
I pretty much agree.
Okay.
Yes.
I can see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
But you guys both didn't really give us anything to really help understand what the vibe is. But I appreciate you guys' opinion. At least you were trying to help him out and say, at least he has some time. Right.
Mhm.
But something I want to make sure these guys know, you're on a time clock.
Mhm.
Right. Like she said, you got 24 hours. If it's a weekend, you don't have the whole weekend, bro.
Right.
Don't think you can just chill for the whole first day and then after that, you're good to go. No. You got 24 hours. If you don't find out what the vibe is and you don't figure it out and be able to create that vibe, you've lost.
I mean, feed her, take her to a nice,
Make you feel comfortable.
Make her feel comfortable.
Okay.
Take her to a nice restaurant. Have good conversation. Obviously someone who's funny, not dead silence. I don't know, someone who compliments you, looks you in your eyes when they're having a conversation with you. Just things like that can create a vibe and can create chemistry, and can lead to those things if that's the goal.
I love that. That was honestly one of the best answers we've got. Right. So you gave actually some tangible things, and I hope you guys were taking notes. She gave you some things that you should do. Take to a nice restaurant. I maybe not. Let's say if you're flying around, yeah, you got to definitely do that. If you're just meeting somebody, I wouldn't suggest that on the first date, but you're flying somebody out, you better be taking her to a nice restaurant, somewhere that you guys can go entertain each other and actually be able to enjoy each other's company.
Mhm.
From there, definitely eye contact, actively listen, be able to have a conversation, and you guys can watch that back, be able to take some more notes so you don't really take what I'm saying. But I think that was a really good leading off point to be able to see, let's say where the mindset is. Because I'm thinking right now we're going to be able to have a conversation of, let's say, traditional versus modern.
Mhm.
That's where I'm thinking, just coming into the room. That's where my mind went right now. This
Yeah.
is the battle of
Right,
traditional
right,
versus modern, right? And here I am. I'm not a pro athlete. I'm not any of these guys just trying to say they're alpha male or anything. I'm not that guy. I'm just out here speaking from things that I've been able to research, right? We'll say that, right? So maybe we'll be able to help you guys find one of those guys. Who knows, right?
Mm.
And it's I can let's say give a good opinion based off of how they might feel, right? So
Mhm.
where I like to start things off with tonight is similar to kind of, let's say, find out where your mindset is,
Mhm.
right? And it comes from the conversation we were having in the daytime show. And for any of you guys that are checking this out, you want to learn something more about how you're going to actually succeed in life, be able to have great conversations with a woman like these lovely ladies here. Check out the daytime show. Get yourself a little bit better. Get your game up. Get your money up. Get yourself in better shape. And today we had a guy named Carl on who was really helping people understand these different concepts. And one of the things that he was talking about, let's say, is men being able to play in women's sports, right? That is something that he was totally against. I wanted to bring that up here to kind of just see like where we are on a conversational basis, the foundation, and get you guys' opinion. What are your thoughts on if men were able to play in women's sports? Is that something that you think should be able to happen? Do you think equality for everybody, and it doesn't matter what gender you are, you should be able to play together? What are you guys' thoughts?
I think, well, men's bodies are different, definitely. So, um, basketball is one. So, you know, it's a difference. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know about gymnastics.
Okay.
As far as men in gymnastics, walking the bar, or but it's certain things that men and women cannot do together.
Okay.
It is definitely, I think, but
Sure. Men have just a clear advantage. It just would
yeah,
be unfair.
in certain things,
Understood.
yes.
I mean, I don't know. I think like which sports specifically? Is that aren't they already? Are we all playing together already?
Not on a professional
You mean
level.
you're saying like men and women like in the same team?
Yeah, and playing against each other and things of that nature.
So like, what's her name? Caitlin Clark and like Steph Curry in the same.
Yeah, like LeBron James playing in the WNBA. Yeah.
My opinion on it, I mean, it feels like there would be a disadvantage. Not even, men are just built different. So it's like, why are we arguing this?
Sure.
If everybody stays in their own lane, there's no traffic.
I love that. That. That's a great quote, and I'm glad we were able to clip that. Right? If everybody stays in their own lane, there's no traffic. Right? Because that's a perfect way to be able to say
great.
it. I think that's a good foundation for us to be able to like build off of that. Right? So let's go a little deeper into the conversation and things that a lot of people were talking about, and it also came up on our show earlier today, with the let's say debate and the election that's happening this upcoming season. Do you guys already have a decision made on who you're voting for, or are you kind of just waiting on how things are going to play out?
I'm definitely Team Kamala.
Okay. All right.
So is that the argument that women shouldn't be presidents?
No argument here, just more so getting opinions first, and then I'm going to have some, let's say, conversation. What about you?
Well, I'm a camera, but I'm still negotiating because it's like up and down on politics.
Sure.
Politics is really up and down.
Okay.
It's like, okay, how do you feel about this? How you feel about that? How was it 4 years before, when Trump was in, and how, but yes, it's definitely a debate on that.
Okay.
It's a debate.
I understand where you're going
So
with that.
yes.
Yeah.
So you got to keep an open mind, but yeah.
You're more 50-50 on the subject.
I'm
You're kind of
just
figuring it out.
I'm out, I'm not gonna vote for a Kamala just because she's a woman.
Okay.
I'm not.
All right.
But yes, but my heart is there.
Sure.
My heart is there.
Sure.
Yeah, so
I feel like I gave Trump a chance already,
Okay.
and it was like, you didn't do anything then. I really can't expect you to do anything now. But yeah, I was open-minded before, I was just like, well, you got 4 years, and no, I would rather just kind of give somebody else a chance at this point.
What were
Like,
you
what else?
expecting him to do? It sounded like you were saying like you gave him a chance
No, I'm
to
saying
do something and then that
to
didn't
not
happen. What was
be
that?
like how sometimes you get on these platforms and then you say stuff and then it can easily go left and you have to come out and apologize.
Sure.
Right? You would think that someone as wise as and has been in a position, many positions of responsibility in business, and I guess I can see where America would want him because he's like a good businessman, and he was at one point like, I'm from New York, so at one point it's like everyone wanted to stay at the Trump hotel and goals and all those things. But yeah, no, like when you just learn a little bit more about this is the same man who just I will never forget about the Central Park 5 boys, and for me that's enough to just, he shouldn't have been, in my opinion, he shouldn't have been voted in the first time. And I feel like sometimes God wants to see if you're still stupid. And I feel like we didn't learn our lesson the first time.
Okay.
That this is even a conversation,
So it's more about the person than it is about the policies when it comes.
But it's both, because it's the person, right? So that's really who you are. Like, you're not even trying to hide it, And I just feel like, people will have this opinion that a woman could be just an unstable representation for the United States. And I just feel like you think women are unstable. This is the man who just goes off script, like can't even answer a question directly. And then policies, that's another thing, like I understand how it works. A president can come up with ideas, right? But other people have to like pass it.
Sure.
So
Sure. No, you brought up a couple of things there where you were saying like people think that she's unstable, and then B, like he's like more an example of being quote unquote unstable by not being able to answer a question directly. It sounds like you got some like examples of you not being able to answer some questions directly.
I mean, I know we can just roll
like
clips, and you can find so many clips on the internet.
Okay, fair. Just politicians just speaking more so.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Did you check out the debate by chance or no?
Well, they haven't had one yet. It's September or something.
No, I was talking about when Trump versus Biden.
Oh, Biden. Oh, my. Don't even go there. We can't go there. Oh, okay. With that one.
Right.
One is.
That's just the most recent, so I wanted to bring that up.
That one is off the record.
Oh, got you. Okay. I can see why it might be. But it seemed like he was pretty concise in that, let's say.
Especially with me being older. Okay.
The fair.
Okay.
Fair. But it seemed like he was being pretty concise. I'm not saying I'm just like the biggest Trump supporter.
That one is definitely off the record.
We understand that politicians, they often have to be able to say things without being able to say things.
Right.
How I like to talk about Trump.
Yes.
If I was to vote, I'm not voting for either of them. But if I was to vote, it would be for the Trump side. But how I like to speak about him is with these politicians, they like to be, let's say, eloquent. Mm-hmm. They like to use different vernacular to be able to keep you engaged without telling you shit, right? Trump doesn't necessarily have that. So what he likes to do is be an entertainer. So he'll start talking about something that has nothing to do with the subject, even though he started off giving you the information, right? So let's say he was talking about building a wall. He would say something around the lines about, how that's something he would want to do, and it's going to take some time, and then go into a lot of different jokes about the wall. And then you forget about everything that he said that was actually tangible, right?
So, yeah, I think there's a lot of moments like that where it's just like, oh man, you fucked it up. Like, you should have just stayed quiet, Yeah, but still, again, the character, his character, and who he displayed, like who he shows us that he is. It's just I don't think that that's just representative of who I want to be the the face of the United States. I think that's dangerous.
Got you. But the character of Kamala is somebody that we feel is a good
Well,
representation.
Like I said, both. Like if I had to choose,
Mhm.
I would go with her. Like
Okay.
I would just want to give somebody else a chance,
Gotcha.
right? Because again, we gave him a chance.
Sure.
So I think if people just get us like put aside that she's a woman and actually listen to what they both have to say and then make an educated decision based on that.
Mhm.
And then
If we
again,
do that, then I think we'd go more Trump, quite honestly, because
but
I haven't really heard much of what she's had to say that was making me feel a little more swayed on an education side, in the sense of like things that are coming out of her mouth don't really seem to add up.
I feel like a lot of people in a different tax bracket are swayed towards Trump, and rightfully so. He is in support of the wealthier class, but that does not do anything for the middle class. That is whether you get married or whether you're single, whether you got a raise. You're just forced into this tax bracket that you're still paying the higher taxes
Okay,
than
I
these
like it.
millionaires
Get
and
her on the
billionaires.
campaign with get her on the campaign with Kamala.
No.
So tell me this. So what's some of the things that Kamala has said that was like, you know what? Yes, girl, go, girl. You period. What are some of the things that she was talking about that really had you saying that?
As far as like the changes that she wants to
Sure.
dang, you put me on the spot now. Let me think.
Because I'd love to be educated. I'm not gonna lie. I did try to check some of the things out. I didn't see anything that was like, yeah.
I wish I would have
so
known you
I
were
want you
gonna
to-
bring this up, because I would have definitely like I'm such a bullet point person.
Okay,
I would have been like
okay,
this,
fair,
and this. But dang, I definitely know that she does want to. She was saying something about bringing the costs down, obviously for like groceries and things like that, and I think helping. Was it bringing up the child care credit, like what families get for their kids?
Okay.
Like an increase.
Mhm.
So those little things help, but I really can't remember right now.
Okay.
Put me on the
no
spot.
worries. And I'm not going to be that guy that's going to be like, no, she's stupid. She don't know it. No, I'm not going to be that guy, right? Like, but I understand what you're saying. It was more on equalitarian things, right? Trying to make everything balanced. So I personally think that that's a conversation that we're actually about to lead into with things being equal versus people having their roles, what they like to say are gender roles, right? And I think that's where the conversation comes into versus traditional versus modern, right? And I believe that she's pushing things more to a modern, let's say, time versus a traditional time. Can we all agree on that let's say, sentiment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Perfect. So with that sentiment, I think that leads to women not necessarily respecting men and what their strengths are. And I like to say that most women don't respect most men. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay. I think that we need to let the man lead a little more. We need to be a little more feminine and stay on our feminine side, and let the man go on in and do his thing, and say, sit back, relax, and let us, just go back to the traditional day. Well, no, because I can't say that, because my grandmama and them, they took the lead. So no, I don't want to do that no more. I want to sit back and relax and let my man lead me and say, okay,
Leads
it's
you
okay.
straight into disappointment.
It's okay, you go ahead and do that. It's okay that you lead, and let me sit back, relax, and enjoy my life. And that's what I'm doing.
I love
That's
it.
what I'm doing. I'm
love
gonna
it.
sit back and relax. And relax.
I love that. What
Yes.
about you? It looks like you had some things you wanted to say there.
I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. But you said that women don't respect men.
Most women don't respect most men.
I feel like if most men gave women something to respect, we would.
Okay.
I think and then to be fair, right? I don't necessarily think like I'm the most traditional person in relationships and things like that. I am a person who I will allow a man to lead enough to make him believe that he's leading and still operate in my soft feminine era.
Okay.
You know, I think when you're dealing with a certain type of man, he's going to require a certain type of woman. So it really just depends on who you are. If your woman doesn't respect you, it's probably because you haven't given her anything to respect. Are you a leader? Can you come up with problem solving skills? Like, do you have those? Most men are looking for women to cook. Can you? You know, like, so it's just like, what do you want a woman like? I feel like that was just so vague. Like, what do you mean?
Okay. All right. All right. I understand where you're going with that. And you kind of like, I was with you until you got to the end. And then you were like, well, you're looking for a woman to cook, but can you? It's like, well, if you're looking for somebody to do that, why do I need to do it? Shouldn't we have different strengths that complement each other rather than doing the same thing?
Correct. But what happens? So now if you both have things going on, right? You both have careers, you both are tired, and then let's say throw kids in the mix. That's like a 24-hour job, right? So it's like if we both know how to cook, and like you said, we pick up. So if I'm still at work and you're at home, why wouldn't you either be considerate and order food or make something to cook?
See, I'm describing a situation that doesn't even include either of that, right? Because what I'm saying is you wouldn't be working regardless, right? I'd be providing for the entire thing. So then you wouldn't have to work. So then somebody would be able to take on their entire strength instead of us both doing the same thing, us both working, and then us both having the ability to cook. That sounds redundant. Instead of us, one person taking on their strengths and what they're naturally good at, and the other person take on their strengths and what they're naturally good at. And together we complement each other. Men
somewhere down the line stop naturally being providers.
Okay.
Because, we're kind of like forced. I don't mean to speak for everybody, but I'm saying like most women are, forced to play both roles. But like what you're saying is just like, yeah, if you made, in your situation, you're just like, well, I'm the provider, I'm this, you're gonna stay home, so it's like bare minimum, you should be coming home to a cooked meal, and that would show respect as well, because it's like, man, you're out there doing everything for us. It's like the most that I can do is just not only be happy that you're home, but also like feed you.
Okay. All right.
Make it a home and peaceful and warm environment.
I can appreciate that. And like, as you saw, like I had nothing to say when you said most men aren't going to be great leaders. That's why we have a daytime show. Most of these guys, you're losers, right? Get your shit together, right? And that's what, we're trying to do. We're trying to help guys be better guys, right? I think that feminism, quite honestly, has made a lot of women try to be men and a lot of men try to be women, right? So a lot of men are not doing what they should have been doing into being the best providers, being the best leaders, being the, let's say, protectors of whatever they are around. And because of that, you have women who are thinking it's their job to step up in that situation. And quite honestly, you're not going to do great at what you're not built to do, right? Like, for example, if do you guys have children? No, and yes. Okay. Yes. Let's put this in a hypothetical, right? For you, let's say you do have children, right? And for you, let's say you had young children. How would you feel if you took your daughter to a daycare that was ran by all men?
No. I wouldn't like that.
No. Exactly right? Because that's not our natural strength. So it would feel very uncomfortable walking your daughter into a daycare of all men. And that's no judgment to the all male daycares out there, right? Shout out to you, bro. you're a weirdo, but shout out to you, right? But that's exactly what we're talking about,
Mhm.
right? We naturally have different strength, and that's totally okay.
Mhm.
I don't judge you for having that.
Yeah.
However, I believe that we shouldn't judge, let's say, men who believe that women should be in their natural, quote unquote, strengths based off their roles that they were gifted by biology.
Yeah, no judgment.
I love that.
That's
I love that. We're starting off to a great conversation here. I
Mhm.
think this is leading into a great place here, right? And one of the things that you had brought up, right, was just like how most of these guys, are quite honestly, they're losers, right? They're not doing what they need to do. So when you find a guy that is doing what he needs to do you feel that you need to do more than, let's say, let's say, go above and beyond to make sure that you keep that guy versus what you would do with a normal guy?
Yes, I think so. I step up a little bit. Yes, I do. I do step up a little bit and do a little extra. Yes,
Okay.
I think I need to. Yes,
Okay.
to make him feel secure in what he needs to do.
All right. I
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
It's essentially you're saying like, yo, you know what, baby? I know you're the prize.
Right.
I like that.
And you're saying in this example, the guy does everything. He's a provider.
Yeah, he's what you're looking for.
Yeah, so I think that I would be 100% submissive to someone who can not only provide for me financially, but emotionally and mentally. It's just beyond the finances. You could be with somebody who has all the money in the world and isn't emotionally intelligent. But yeah, I would 100%. I wouldn't do anything more than I would just do everything that I'm supposed to do to make my significant other happy.
So you treat him just like some regular old boyfriend?
No, not like some, but no, not like
some.
But a
some of these
regular
other guys
old
that you treat,
boyfriend
like-
wouldn't be taking care of me, wouldn't be providing for me. So
I would
obviously it
hope.
would be different. It'd be a different treatment for somebody, because that's something that a man brings out of you. Like there's just certain things that you could have been with you could have been in a last relationship, and I mean, I'm sure we've all experienced it where you kind of feel like, dang, nobody's ever made me feel like this before. And it's just, it took a different type of person, a different type of behavior, consistency that, you'll get that same consistency right back.
Okay.
And a really good book to read for those that do read, men. There's a book called The Way of the Superior Man. And women might not like if you're dating somebody for you to read that book, because it's just going to unlock like your true high frequency, your king self. Like that's really a great book.
Okay. All right. Shout out to the guys out there. She's giving you guys some game here. Check it out. Way to the Superior Man. I think one of the things that I picked up there was you were kind of just saying, and you correct me if I'm wrong, right? I don't want to put words in your mouth, that you'll get into your feminine once you meet that masculine guy. But until then,
that I'll get into my feminine when because for the most part, like single women, we operate in our masculine because we're very protective of ourselves, right? But when the right person comes in and kind of like breaks down those walls and brings them down where you can operate in your soft feminine self, you kind of want to do everything for your man. You want to make him a home cooked meal just to watch him like lick the plate and enjoy it. And it's just like, wow, I did that. Like I fed you. I can nurture you.
Okay. All right. So you say you operate in your masculine. Why do you feel like that's a necessity?
Operating in my masculinity as a woman in Vegas, yeah, it is a necessity. When I first moved out here, I used to have this attitude of, I would fuck somebody up, like if they tried me, but then you quickly realize there's no precincts out here. So it's not like you could just 24 hours and then come out.
Nope.
So no, you kind of, I pick and choose where I go and who I'm with, my surroundings. I'm very observant. And that's just because I'm just not going to put myself in predicaments that can be dangerous.
Okay.
You
All
know?
right, and I'm going to be quite honest with you. Like, I've been here. For you guys that don't know, she's been in the studio for a little bit. We kind of didn't go just live as soon as she walked in, and she's definitely not as masculine as some other women have been, right? And I think what she said at the end is part of the reason, right? Where she has now secluded herself to certain situations where she doesn't have to be in that masculine all the time, because I was going to take that into a different situation, but you brought it back to a little bit of reality where we can have like a medium here, because saying that you should operate in your masculine until you find a guy to put you in your feminine, that's a line you don't want to tread, right? Because it's something that doesn't work out for your best.
No,
Right? You
and
want to
not
more
what I
so
said.
keep yourself guarded into situations that are going to help you stay safe and secure within your feminine. And then, when the right guy is in that environment, you'll be able to be in your masculine, or excuse me, he'll be able to be in his masculine so that you can remain in your feminine.
Correct.
Okay, fair. I mean, this is, quite honestly, guys, this is more so like a kumbaya. Right? I didn't realize that we would have two people here that would actually be on the same wavelength like this, but I like it. That means that there's hope. All right. We always say the future is bright. Shout out to PBD. If you guys don't watch it, check out Valuetainment. Great in, let's say, education. He's my news every day. So the future is bright, and this is proof of it. All right. Then the next thing I kind of want to take it into to kind of like see where we're going to find some separation here. Right. We brought it up a little bit before, but in a relationship, right, because we all believe, as people, we have value. Right, we get that, right? We're not talking about that. When we say having value, we're talking about the sexual marketplace, right? So that's when we're saying, a man might have higher value at certain points than a woman might have, and we're always talking about the sexual marketplace, not as a human, not as a human being. All right, so we have that understood. Fair? Okay, cool. So the question that I was going to ask is, in a relationship, who would we consider is the prize?
Always the queen. We're the prize.
I kind of don't even have that mentality. I think we're both the prize. Assuming that we're both whole and complete and healed. And, when we come together, I think that I need you just as much as you need me.
Okay. All right. So we got two different answers here.
Mhm.
All right. So we got one is the queen. One is 50-50. Yeah. Is that what we're saying here? Like 50-50? We're both?
No, I mean, I don't even believe in 50-50. I feel like 100.
Okay. 100. All right. But in a relationship, somebody has to be the leader. It's just how it,
The man.
Okay. Fair. So with him being the leader, does that mean that you feel like it's more 75-25? Meaning he's somebody that you should cherish a little more? But what are we thinking on that? Like, did that change your mind a little bit?
With him being 75 and me being 25?
Yes.
No, I don't like those. I don't like that number.
Okay, but we did just
maybe like 60-40. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, 60-40. All right.
Sounds
cool.
better.
Okay. All right. So we're understanding it, at least in some semblance, right? That he's going to have to be at that level. And here's the reason why I'm saying it. Not just to be an asshole, right? Not to say that, like, men aren't getting enough love. It's more so to make sure that relationships work out. Because I don't know if you guys knew, like, what I'm trying to do is bring back together the family nucleus, right? I'm trying to bring back love. Okay?
Love.
That's what I'm all about, right? So I'm trying to get both sides getting their shit together so that we can come back together as a community. And here's one of the things that I've noticed. Shout out to Psych Hacks. He broke down a great, let's say, analogy to help us understand it, right? So in relationships, there's going to be two sides. One is the adorer versus the adoree. Okay, somebody who is adoring the other more than, let's say, vice versa, right? Let's say, so we put in the princess movies from Disney. You have the princess who's always looking for the Prince Charming. She's adoring that man, right? So she is the adorer. He is the adoree. Okay, so when we're describing healthy relationships, one we've seen is that in order for it to work long term, more often than not, you need the female to be the adorer, adoring that man, the guy that is, let's say, that top guy. So she is looking for that, the Prince Charming. Otherwise, if he's adoring her, putting her on a pedestal, it often leads to a situation where she's going to find a guy to start adoring, right? AKA leaving that man, right? And so what we've noticed is that unless the man is seen as, quote unquote, the prize, AKA being adored and in a pedestalized situation, it often can be complex and lead to things that might not be for the best. What are you guys' thoughts on just hearing that information there?
I think that he should be the king and he should be leading and he should adore me. So I'm the queen. So he has to adore me more than, but I'm gonna adore him. I'm gonna look at the king and let him lead and let him do everything as I do everything for him.
Okay.
I'm gonna put all my feminine side in him and let him do lead me and adore me and bring me the flowers and bring me the everything and I'm gonna stay in my feminine side and I'm gonna cook for him, I'm gonna provide for him, I'm gonna love him to death.
Okay.
I'm gonna give him all the loving he needs.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Sounds
I'm
like
not gonna lie to you.
mom.
What it sounds like is you're agreeing with me wholeheartedly,
I'm
but you're just
agreeing with you
saying
heartedly.
words that are disagreeing, right? Like what he is he's gonna be that man.
I'm gonna let him be that man.
I love
to
that.
me.
And quite naturally,
I'm
here's
gonna
what
let
it is,
him do that for me. Provide, be that
That's what we
man
do.
for me.
That's what we do
Yeah,
as men.
so-
We're naturally going to be providers.
I'm gonna
We're
let him
going
do
to
that.
adore you just because
But
we're
I'm
around
gonna
you.
stay in my feminine side and I'm gonna give him all the love and attention and everything he needs
There we
to
go. There we
provide
go.
for me.
And
And
that's quite honestly what men are looking for. But also like what she was just describing is that we are going to provide for whatever woman we're around. That's just how we're built. No matter if we're in a long-term relationship with them or not, if intruder busts in, we're going to feel natural to protect them. We're going to be somebody that's looking out for the woman that's with us. So we're going to adore her naturally. What she's saying is she's going to do everything in her power to adore him, knowing that he's going to adore her, right? So we're on the same page here. Now, but it seems like we might not. Maybe we're in the same chapter, but we ain't on the same page. So
I feel like, but men can express that differently, so I don't want to think that, just because he is not like I'm very affectionate, right? Like you cook, you provide, you clean, you do all these things, right? That these are the acts of service. These are this is how a woman proves that she loves you, right? By taking care of you in all the feminine ways. But sometimes men, what if he's not overly obsessed with you but still adores you? So I used to feel like I wanted a man to obsess over me. And then I got busy. So it's like, that's not going to work, because then I realized that, okay, I'm not in high school anymore. So it's not looking, it doesn't look like puppy love in your 30s. It looks like we got shit to do, right? I know you're busy. I'm busy too. We're going to make time for each other. That doesn't mean that we don't adore each other.
Okay, I understand what you're saying there. And one of the things that like pops in my mind is you're looking at attraction being like symmetrical.
What do you mean?
In the same ways that you're attracted to him, he might show he's attracted to you. Is that fair to say?
No, I feel like we might have different attractions, right? Because men fall in love with what they see and women fall in love with what they hear. So I think it's always going to be different.
Sure. Yeah, it's asymmetrical for sure. And okay, you just threw me off a little bit with like kind of what you were saying when it comes to like him, let's say, doting on you, right? Always being obsessive over you. That's more so something that, quite honestly, it's not going to be the best traits if he's doing. He's going to be able to spend time with you, of course. However, how I like to describe it is that we show love to each other with the opposite genders by giving each other our most prized possession, right? The thing that actually is the most valuable that we have to offer. For men, the thing that we have that's most valuable is our ability to actually provide and protect for you, right? We can do that. And if we do that at a high level, it's something that honestly will save your life, right? What women have to offer men on the other side, that's the highest thing of value, is not saving life, but creating life, right? From one of the genders, that just happens to be between your legs, right? For the other, it's not. So when it comes to him being able to show how much he cherishes and adores you, he'll actually be doing that in different ways, possibly by showing that that he'll provide for you in different ways, maybe by giving you gifts, maybe by taking you out nice places, so on and so forth. Maybe he might not be able to spend as much time as other guys who, they're not the guys that you want to be with, but he's just going to be all up under you, right? The guy that you might want the most, he'll be able to provide for you, be able to protect you, put you in safe places, but he might not be able to spend as much time with you. That's how we show our love, which might be a little different, which is why I brought up the asymmetry of attraction. It seemed like you had something you wanted to say there.
I wanted to say something when you said the part about the women creating life. Just to piggyback on that, you said that's how we are valuable.
Well, we're talking about relationships. Yeah, like what we're bringing to the relationship.
So
you're bringing the ability to create life to the relationship.
But so for example, in my relationship, right, I wouldn't be bringing in that ability because I don't want to have children. So are you saying that I'm not valuable?
I'm not going to say that you're not valuable, but for guys that are at a certain, let's say, status, right, for lack of a better term, right, they might not see as much value in you because oftentimes guys that are at a certain level are looking to be able to create a further legacy. And with you not wanting to do that, whether it's you can or you want, I'm not going to get deep into your personal life, but with that not being, let's say, on the table, it does make it less attractive to him because he's looking to create a legacy. And you're saying, you know what, bro? No, you can't.
That's interesting because sometimes a woman like me, I can look at a man that has multiple baby mamas and see no value there.
You should.
It's just like, wow, you're just all over the place. You have multiple kids. So it goes vice versa.
You're absolutely right. There are definitely a lot of situations where you should look at a guy and say, bro, you're a lot less valuable. If you're just sitting in the basement, you ain't got nothing going on, you're not trying to do anything with your life, like, bro, you're a lot less valuable. You got a couple baby moms, you're not really trying to be able to provide for all of them because you don't have as much money to be able to take care of them. You're not as valuable. So trust me, it definitely goes both ways.
Yeah.
But as long as we accept that it goes both ways, not just the male way.
No.
Right. So that's just the reason why it's like, not to say that you're not valuable. We're not going to be extremists here. But yes, some of those guys might look at you as less valuable. And it's because men, we look to create our legacy. And a lot of guys, they don't get the opportunity to be able to create their legacy. I believe the stats are around 90% of women in like all of human history got to be able to let their gene pool go on further, aka have kids. And the numbers are about like 40% of men had that opportunity. So it's biologically like just put into us that we really want to be able to do that. And not every guy gets that opportunity. So if you're just taking it off the table, yeah, for the guys that have really worked really hard to be able to be attractive to a large pool of women, they're going to look at you as less valuable for their relationship for sure.
Yeah, I think it's men shouldn't tie their legacy to just procreating, but taking care of what you create.
Well, of course, taking care of what you create is definitely great.
That's the legacy that you leave behind.
Procreating is like the top. Being able to have a mini me,
for sure, but being able to, some people get caught up with being able to give your kid everything that you never had instead of teaching them all the things you wish you knew.
I understand that. And I think that's a separate conversation because what you're talking about in that conversation is that both situations have a kid. One's giving them everything, one's teaching them everything. But in both situations, there's a legacy there, right? What we're talking about is no legacy being involved, right? And that situation makes him feel a little like, whoa, why did I do all this for, right? Sure, I'm giving it to everybody. Yes, I have a great company that's going to be helping a lot of people, but I want to pass this on to somebody.
Yeah,
and that's just the little separation we were saying there. Who knows? Maybe with this, you'll change your mind. Who knows? But that's like the main thing that we were saying when it comes to like relationships and the value part, right? That the guy works really hard to be able to get to that level, right? So oftentimes what we like to say is that women, they have to retain their value and men, they have to gain their value, right? So from the moment you are past puberty, right? Quite honestly, right? We'll say 18. Well, we're on Rumble. So past puberty, right? Don't do no crazy shit, you motherfuckers. You guys are getting dealt with a lot of attraction, right? People are hitting on you consistently, right? Guys, that doesn't necessarily happen. There are no women just walking up to guys hitting on them. Well, I'll ask you, when's the last time you walked up to a guy and just hit on him? Not to say that you saw a guy and said hello. I'm saying, when's the last time you walked to a guy and hit on him?
I mean, I have clients, and I will compliment them. Like, I'm just like, wow, you're very like if I'm meeting them for the first time, because I just think it goes both ways. Like when my male friends stop and look at me, I'm like, oh wow, you look really pretty today. I don't think like, oh my God, he wants to fuck me. I'm thinking like, oh yes, because this is how females talk to each other. We're like, damn, bitch, you look good today.
Sure.
Like, so I kind of just I don't lead with assuming that every guy who compliments me wants to fuck me. To me, it's just like, yes, I know I look good. Yes, I'm attractive. But I'm not like big head. Like, I don't have a big head like that. Like, oh yeah, assuming just everybody. No, so I definitely give flowers to men because men need that shit too.
Okay, yeah. You just got pretty privilege. I get it. So I understand what you're saying because I'm telling you, those guys that hit on you definitely want to fuck you. Right? They're telling you you're pretty. They're trying to smash, right? They're just seeing how you're going to receive it. But what you're talking about is like when you compliment them, you're not trying to move that to a actual next step, should we say? Right? That's what hitting on somebody is. So that's why I asked that question. Like, when's some time that you actually talk to a guy with a flirtatious nature, wanting to move it to the next step? When's the last time you did that?
When's the last time I did that? Well, probably my last relationship that I was in. I pretty much was assertive, I knew what I wanted. I was like, hey.
Yeah, you went after it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair. I'm not going to be mad at that. I'm not going to argue with you on that. Clearly you're an exception to the rule, and I think you can agree with that most women.
Maybe it's a New York thing. Maybe.
Oh, it definitely is. Bring out them Timberland boots. We understand what it is, right? What about you, right? Just to see, like on the other side, are you outside, or can you remember the last time you hit on a guy, like to be flirtatious native to hope for things to go to the next level?
I have.
Okay.
I have. I've seen someone sitting next to me and turned around and say, "Hi, my name is Cheryl. Would you like to take down my name and number and call me sometime?"
Okay.
Yes, I have done it.
Okay.
All right. They called me like 4 days later.
I believe it. I believe it, because it's going to be rare that when a woman gives a man a shot, he's going to turn it down. It's going to keep it real with you guys. All right, and it sounds like that was fairly recent.
It wasn't that long ago. It was nice. It was nice.
All right. Hey, shout out to you. And now I'm not mad at you. All right. So it's hey, hopefully you guys things are churning for the better. Maybe we'll start getting pretty privileged as well. Right. Just go sit at the bar. Maybe a woman's gonna talk to you. Maybe she'll hit on you. I doubt it. I'm telling you, you need to better have a little bit more charisma so you can start that conversation. But you never know. We have two ladies here saying that opportunity is possible.
Yeah, environment. Change your environment. Mm-hmm. If like where are you looking for women?
What's the environment they need to be in then?
Events, networking events.
Okay.
You want just what type of women do you want? One with a job, one with ambition. What?
No. You're describing the man you want.
No,
we're not looking for that in a woman. I'm telling you that.
You don't want. Oh, you're not looking for a woman who kind of has her own and.
Absolutely not. You want to know why? Because let's break down what that actually sounds like. Right? When you're saying you're a woman that's independent, what does that mean? You're independent of a man. Why would we want a woman that's independent of us? We want somebody that's going to want to work with us.
You want somebody that needs you.
Not necessarily that needs us, because like you brought up earlier, when you bring a union together, we need each other, obviously, right? So it's not necessarily that somebody that's just dependent on us. However, we're not looking for somebody that's going to respect their boss more than they respect us, which is why I brought up the statement to begin this entire conversation that most women don't respect most men, because most women will respect their boss more than they respect the man in their relationship. If their boss comes up and is yelling at them, screaming like, "Hey, bitch, we got to fucking get this shit done. We got this delivery to get out." You're just going to say, "Yes, sir," and go get it done. But if your man come in the house like, "Hey, bitch, we got to get this shit done. I need some goddamn food." You can be like, "Who the fuck are you talking to?"
Listen, it just depends. If we're playing around and you have like
it shouldn't depend. Your boss, you're not playing around. He's being dead ass
that's
serious.
A different scenario. Like, he signs your checks, and I'm sure he wouldn't be cursing you out.
Your man protects your life.
How? What scenario? What environment am I in where he needs?
I'll explain it to you. Let's say you two go out on a date because he's your man.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, somebody is trying to rob the place. You're going to expect him to protect you.
But I'm also
is
not
his
expecting him to
responsibility.
be like Superman. Like we're gonna get under the table or whatever we're supposed to do.
Oh
We're
yeah,
gonna run
you're
away.
both gonna get under the table, and then when the shooter comes around, pointing the gun, you're gonna hope that he gets in front of that motherfucker, so that
I
you don't have
honestly
to
wouldn't
die.
expect that. Like that's ridiculous.
Oh,
Like
you're getting in front
because
of the gun.
no, I'm not. But I'm saying like whatever happens, happens. But for me, it's very unrealistic to expect, let's say, the man that I'm dating to jump in front of a bullet. For me, if he has children.
Okay. So we're throwing it in there now. This is just a
No,
random
because
baby daddy now. All of a sudden,
no, I'm just
because
telling
he got
you.
children. He's a random baby
No,
daddy.
no,
We're throwing in a
no,
random
no,
baby
no.
daddy. All right, so we're breaking down even smaller for you. So there
I'm
can't be
keeping
any
it
baby
more
daddies.
to me.
No. Don't worry. I got you. I'm here for you. Let's break it down to an even simpler situation.
Okay.
Let's say it's still a date, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys are walking down the street. You got that Birkin bag on your shoulder. Right? You good to go. You flossing. And then some random nigga, because you in New York, right? You got the Timbos on.
Mm-hmm.
Some random guy steals the purse, runs down the street. You tell me, which would you rather prefer? I'm going to give you two different scenarios. A, would you rather he look at you, your boyfriend, and he says, wow, baby, that was crazy, right? And you say, yeah, that was crazy. Can you help me? I think he ran off. And he said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Or would you rather B, as soon as that guy snatches the purse, he trips that nigga like Jet Li and then beats his ass, takes the purse back and gives it back to you? Which one would you rather? A or B?
If that was B, if that was in his ability to do, right? If you can think fast enough to trip the guy, beat his ass, like, yeah, sounds very much New York. But honestly, if I have a Birkin, right? You said New York.
Yeah,
if I have a Birkin, that Birkin is insured. And if I'm walking around, like if my man gifted me the Birkin, I would rather see, hey, baby, don't worry, we'll get another one. I mean, I would not want him to risk his life for something that we can buy again.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying. I'm a pretty logical person.
Okay. All right.
I'm not materialistic. I just think, like, why would we be risking our lives?
Okay. All right. You're capping like a motherfucker, but it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay.
Would I want
It's
now? Okay, a different scenario. If a guy disrespected me, this is a different scenario. If a guy disrespected me, would I want the guy that I'm with to handle it? Absolutely. I wouldn't want to be. I'm not going to be with a punk. Most women aren't.
Of course, because you've got to have a guy that you can respect, right? You know, I'm gonna let you live with the Birkin bag.
If he didn't, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna have less respect for him.
Of course, it's one way or the other.
Because it's like you should know the person that you're with. So it's like some women know, like, okay, he's a lover, he's not a fighter. Does that make him wrong? Like,
no, it doesn't make him wrong, but it does mean that at some points you will respect him less as a man.
If he's taking care of home and he's lost the fight, I would respect him less as a man.
A lot of women do. There's a lot. There's some women that actually have UFC fighters as boyfriends, but when they lose fights, they look at them a little differently. It's just biologically within you that it's like, holy shit, this man might not be able to protect me in all situations.
That's a different type of fight, though.
Sure, it is, but biology is biology.
No.
It is what it is. You know, just guys like big titties. Big titties are big titties. You know, we like them, right? It's biology, and that's because we like replication factors, right? That is one of the things that are showing that you can be a great person for replication. Mm-hmm. Sadly, on the other side of it, if you get your ass beat, that shows you can't protect, which is biologically rooted in women. So sometimes, no matter what the fight is, if you lose that fight, she might not like you anymore.
So does that translate to your children? Will your children respect you less if you lose a fight?
Sometimes, but often not. No, because oftentimes your children are looking up to you as a hero. And that really depends on the intermediary between it, right? So I look at it as the children will look up to the mother and the mother is to look up to the father. So let's say that the father loses the fight, but the mother, the intermediary, is a great intermediary and saying, hey, though he lost his fight, he's still a great man. He's still the strongest you'll ever meet. The kids are still going to love that man. Right. However, let's say it's the opposite. And she just starts calling him a punk. And she's just like, well, I don't know if he can do it anymore. Well, those kids are now going to look at that father like, I can't trust him. He's not a hero anymore. So it's the intermediary, which is why, as a union, it's very important.
I guess, but like, stay safe and just turn the other cheek.
You can only turn so many cheeks until that ass is gonna get beat, right? Sadly, that's just how life is, right? Like as a man, you got to do it. I actually brought it up on the show earlier today. As a man, if you're gonna want to actually, be somebody of success, you're gonna have to go through shit in order to be the shit. And if you
Absolutely.
avoid the shit, your life will be shit. So if you keep turning that cheek, one day that cheek's gonna get slammed into some shit, and now you're gonna be sad, and your girl's gonna leave you, and you're gonna be sad. Man, I should have listened to Key. Yeah, you should have, bro. Hit the gym a little bit more, get us some Jet Li moves, and figure out how to protect some people because it's naturally in our biology. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm guaranteeing at some point she's probably gonna leave you, bro.
I don't know.
Okay, she's coming a little closer, guys. She's coming a little closer. She didn't just say no. She said, I don't know. Right. So she's coming a little bit closer over to this side. But I'm not here to try to just like swing you over. I'm just more so just having conversations so people who are watching can maybe learn a few things here and there. Right. So I think we kind of went through a couple parts of the traditional versus the non-traditional. Right. One of the things that was brought up when it comes to, let's say, the conversation of feminism is equality. Right. That's something that we brought up a little bit earlier. And this is the last question we're going to have before we get into last thoughts. All right. So don't worry about that. But I want to figure this out to figure out the last battle of traditional versus modern. All right. When it comes to equality, my personal belief is that women have more rights and privileges than men in 2024. Right. When it comes down to everything that we can do as the genders, there's nothing that we as men can do that you can't. The only privilege, quote unquote, that we might have is that society doesn't judge men for being able to have sex with multiple women. Like nobody judges us, but if you're a woman and you do that, right, people will judge you, right? That's the only quote unquote privilege. Right. But outside of that, there's no other privileges or rights that I can think of that a man has that a woman does not. Is that fair to say? Can you guys think of anything?
Any privilege that a man has that a woman does not?
Correct. Except for the one that I already stated.
I don't think that one was a good one. The sex thing. Multiple sex with different.
Yeah.
You think that's a good one on what men can do?
Well, it's something that men can do that society doesn't judge them on it.
They do judge.
Not necessarily. They kind of just let them go. I mean, Hugh Hefner is somebody that wasn't judged. As a matter of fact, he was celebrated.
I mean, he's rich.
I think we still judge you on that.
Well,
I think you're still judged on that.
Men with multiple children, like multiple baby moms. Do you guys?
I'm gonna come back to that in a second. But you said men with multiple baby mamas.
Yeah, multiple children scattered out.
Okay.
That's a privilege that you guys don't get. I think you do, but I'm saying like if a woman did it, she's a whore.
Oh, I agree. We're saying the same thing then in what I just stated. That if a woman has multiple sexual partners, she's going to get
partners. But with
thing.
children,
it's still the same thing.
Too. I think you're judged on that.
Because look at Future. He can have all these kids and somebody will still have his, their first will be his ninth.
Absolutely. We're talking the same thing. That's the one thing that I think men have. And that's kind of what I was saying on society doesn't judge them in the sense that Future is still celebrated. Women will still have his ninth kid. Same thing for Nick Cannon. The women will line up to have his kid as well, right?
Okay.
But let's say J-Lo, if she had kids with multiple fathers, right? Guys ain't lining up to be the next baby daddy for J-Lo.
Drama.
It's just not going to happen, right? You are similarly judged, right, when it comes to females. But that's the same thing that I was saying. So could you guys think of anything else?
The way men work is a privilege. Like, so when a man works relentlessly, he's hustling, he's a boss, he's a leader. But when a woman has that same ambition, she could be called other things.
Okay.
Maybe neglectful towards her family, because she's not in her role.
Okay, fair. I can understand where you're going with that. And you're saying that that's a privilege to be able to work hard and not necessarily be condescended on, even though you might just be leaving obligations to the side.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. Even though you're agreeing that you're leaving obligations to the side.
But see, I would use that term like because there's women that my obligations wouldn't be left to the side if, let's say, my mom was taking care of my obligations. Like if I had children, like
Fair,
if she was the
fair.
nanny, or like in Spanish and Black cultures, it's like we're a village.
Mhm.
So what if I'm just like a single mom in New York and I'm trying to just grind out so I can get out and buy my family a house, and maybe I have to work relentlessly. This is just one income, and it's hard.
You're saying, what if in that time you're like, oh, okay, the guy who's doing that exact same thing, he's getting, let's say, celebrated, which often he doesn't, because we don't hear of dads getting celebrated when they're trying to do that type of thing. But I understand your perspective. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. But you're saying on the other side, like the woman should be celebrated as well, right? Just to make sure I hear your point.
Yeah, and not have to deal with the guilt that comes with trying to follow your dreams, because just because you had a child doesn't mean that you don't have your own dreams, or just because you took a man's last name doesn't mean that you don't have your own dreams and aspirations.
Okay, and where's the guilt coming from?
Society, right? That they'll make you feel guilty if you're at work all day, and let's say if you work, for example, I have a friend, she is a licensed therapist for a nursing home. I might be fucking that up. And she works, I want to say 12, 14 hours of the day. And she has a husband. She has a teenage son.
Mm-hmm.
She still every weekend drives to Connecticut or Pennsylvania or wherever, to do the baseball mom thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she tells me, like, in the middle of the night, she has to wake up sometimes to check emails. So her husband might feel neglected.
Okay.
So in that term, she's very ambitious. He has a career. She has a career. And I don't think like there's many home cooked meals.
Sure.
Right. There's a lot of eating out, but they can afford it. So it's just like a compromise. And then she's very much present with her kid. But I know, like me, I can assume that she gets a lot of shit for it, from her husband.
Yeah. I can imagine that he would give her a lot of shit because there's something he's looking for that he's not fucking getting. And so I can imagine that. But you brought up society. And I don't see society getting on her at all. As a matter of fact, society would call her a boss babe and tell her go get her bag. Right? That's what society would tell her. So I don't see them guilting women.
Right? The women who empower other women to, because like you said, we're more we're not so traditional anymore, where we're staying home and we're only going to work for 8 hours. It's like some of us are, have 9 to 5s and then have a 5 to 9, and then have children in between. So it's like, it's a lot. It's hard.
Oh, I'm hearing exactly what you're saying. I'm just saying nobody's guilting you for that in society. So as a matter of fact, people are praising you guys for doing that and saying you're doing great and you're the strongest people on planet. As a matter of fact, they're calling you guys Wonder Woman. I'm not saying you're the one of those ones, but I'm just speaking to you guys out there that are doing that. She said she doesn't have kids, guys, so get out for her. But yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, is that society's praising that. As a matter of fact, nobody's kind of like saying that that's a bad thing. Society's loving it.
I don't know. I hear different things from like my friends that are juggling and doing multiple things. And yeah, I praise them because it's like, yes, don't give up on your dreams. Like, let your kids see that, we're not just going to wake up every day and clock in for somebody else. There's something else that we're trying to do so we can leave like a different type of legacy behind.
Okay. All right. Here's my thought to that. What if she, clocked in for a man instead of clocking in for somebody else? She clocked in for a man, and all that energy she put into a guy that was able to provide that same exact life she was looking for her and those kids. Wouldn't that be a better goal than to giving all that energy to somebody who can fire you at any moment?
Absolutely. And if most
why don't we
men
preach that then?
I'm with you.
I feel more. You were just praising her for being a boss baby instead of telling her, forget that goddamn job. Go find you a rich guy. Go find a guy that's actually a good guy that is actually able to provide. Forget the job. Why aren't you telling her that?
Because I think people that were raised on love and people that were raised on survival, they're just brought up differently. So her watching her, her parents together and then separate just maybe is a hidden trauma for her, that she's just like, well, I got to make sure that my career and everything is thriving. So in case this doesn't work.
So she ain't listening, essentially, is what you're saying.
I mean,
even if you told her that, you telling me she ain't trying to hear that.
No, because her husband, he's actually a licensed financial professional as well. But he's also the manager and director of a hospital. So he has a career and he's also trying to, do his own business. and he makes a lot of good, like great money to where he can take care of his, but they have like big goals. So I could see why they're both hustling. They're going to
Gotcha.
get there faster if they just, stay on track.
Understood. They're their own unique situation. I'm not trying to pry into their business or
Yeah.
anything. I'm not
Mhm.
trying to tell them to, get off the job or anything.
But I
You know.
agree with you. I agree with you. Men, if I mean a man, but think about if men want to, I guess they should. But if you're making multiple six figures, and you could take care of your wife and your household, and not get frustrated when you had a long day, and your family is looking forward to spending time with you, hopefully there's still something left over at the end of the day, because often those stay-at-home wives get cheated because they're kind of left with what's left of you,
Sure.
of like the whole day of you just dealing with people, or whatever your business is,
No, I can understand that.
But yeah, I think that if more women were being taken care of, it would allow them to operate in their feminine energy and allow them to actually like think, to see how they can support their husbands or their partners, their significant other in better ways.
Okay. I can agree with that.
But in the end, no matter what you do, in the end, the kids want their daddy there. They want their daddy there because no matter how the daddy is out there providing, and I've heard it. They want their daddy at that basketball game. They don't want their mama, no matter how the mama is out there cheering for the kid, and they're there at all the recitals and everything. They miss their daddy at the end of it all.
Yeah, we
All
have to
done
move on.
and said, they want their daddy there.
And that's a
So,
beautiful thing, quite
and they
honestly.
do.
It's
They
a
do.
beautiful thing. We have different
Whether
roles.
your mama or your mama with your daddy or whatever, they
Mhm.
want their daddy in their life. And we gotta, as women, we gotta make sure that we keep their daddies in the kids' lives.
And I like that you said it like that. As
They
women,
do.
we got to make sure that we do that, because
We gotta
I
make
understand
sure
what
that.
you were saying here, that a lot of times women believe that they need to build up a financial security in case the guy leaves, but just
Mm-mm.
that's just not true,
Mhm.
right?
Not true.
Biologically, men just don't leave, and then the stats prove that as well.
Yeah.
Though 50% of marriages end in divorce,
Mhm.
80% are initiated by the woman. And when you're dealing with a woman that's college educated, that number goes up to 90%.
Yeah.
So most times the man's just not going to leave. He's going to stay within that relationship. He might sexually leave. He might cheat, right? But he's not going to leave providing for that family, right? And that's a sexual attraction. We can get into a longer conversation if you wanted to, but that's something totally different, right? When it comes down to actually leaving the relationship and separating the family to make sure that it's one person taking care of the family, that's typically on the woman leaving that family, right? So when it comes down to the financial dependence, that's something that doesn't often happen that way.
Just feel like men don't care for paperwork, so the woman has to initiate the divorce and the separation. So I think that's really what it is. Like
That's a funny way to look at it, but it's like, quite honestly, like, even when it comes down to like relationships, guys are not going to leave a relationship, even if it's not a marriage. When it's
I think they
boyfriend, girlfriend,
will.
they're not going to leave because even though we're not talking about the financial part of it, they don't want to leave the consistent sex, right? So they're going to stay with the girl.
Who's to say that you're having consistent sex just because you bought the cow? Sometimes it dries up.
Typically in relationships, unless it's being withheld, which is why it's probably going to lead to cheating anyways. But typically in a relationship, there is somewhat consistent sex. Yeah, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. What you're talking about, where it's not going to be given, and sometimes he does withhold it to make sure that he acquiesces to what's needed for the relationship. Whole nother combo, by the way. But yes, I understand that conversation as well. But if we're talking about a relationship, more often than not, he's going to be able to have consistent sex compared to being out on the sexual marketplace, where he has no guarantees of sex, because men fuck who they can, women fuck who they want. It's two
Correct.
totally different lives.
I agree.
So when it comes down to that, the guy is going to stay within that relationship to try to make sure that at least he's going to get some sex from his girlfriend at some point, versus being single when he don't know when the hell he's going to get some more sex. Like, he's
so
just out here in the woods.
unhealthy though to stay in a situation just because you want to have consistent sex. I just think about like kids deserve to see happy parents.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
So if men are the 20% of men that are leaving, it's like power to you. But I feel like you should check these numbers out because I don't think those statistics are right. I think men are also like being fed up with women because it's like, why would you want to stay in a relationship where you don't feel respected? I think so many people are rushing into situations. It's like you don't even know the person that you're with. So if in the end, this person doesn't respect you, I think that if you would have been operating in your authentic self from the jump, they would have known exactly what they were getting, right? And same for the woman. I think sometimes we fall in love with potential and not with exactly who the man is showing us that they are. So then all that unravels later, and you end up being with people that you don't respect. Just like, I mean, I've heard it so many times where men regret not their children, but the women that they have kids with because the woman doesn't respect them. But it's because maybe they're not providing in a way that woman thought,
Okay. Yeah. And if, life was a fairy tale, everybody would have a Rolls Royce. But it's not that, right? So when it comes down to this, you're absolutely right that it's just like what I said at the beginning. Most women don't respect most men, right? And they're hoping that man will become a man that they will respect. But that man was showing them who they actually were. And I'm going to tell you why those men stay with those women. I said it at the beginning, but I'll bring it back one more time. And I'll say it like this. What do you think of the guys that are in their sexual prime, right? Not even just these guys that we're talking about in relationships that might have been in relationship for a little while. So then maybe they're past their sexual prime, right? In guys that are in their sexual primes, right? 18 to 24. What do you think the percentage?
That's your sexual prime for men?
That's what they say.
18 to 24?
Guys, that's when, like, no matter what you're doing in your life, your testosterone is going to be at your highest. Now, as guys, can you keep that high for lots of decades after that? Of course. But for guys that are just like sloppy and it doesn't even matter, we're talking about the average pool of most men, right? Even for those guys from 18 to 24, they're still at their highest. Does that make sense? All right. So for those guys, what percentage of guys do you think are either virgins or haven't had sex in the past year?
18 to 24?
Literally have never had sex in their life or haven't had sex in the past year.
1%.
Okay. She says 1%.
So the percentage from 18 to 24 that have never had sex in their lives.
Maybe 18, maybe it's a little more higher.
I don't think, okay, because there probably are virgins out there. I don't know, maybe less than 5%.
Okay. She said 1%. You said less than 5%. You want to know what the actual number is?
What?
And this is like a couple of years ago, and the numbers are actually getting even higher. It's right now at 1 in 3. So that's around 33%.
33%?
That are virgins?
Correct. Either virgins or have not had sex within the past year.
And they're 24?
18 to 24. Yes, correct. So what I'm helping you guys realize is that because oftentimes it is no judgment to you whatsoever, right? But oftentimes women look
what
at
state is the statistic in?
The entire nation, right? It's the entire United States. That's what the state is.
The world.
Yeah, it's the entire United States, right? It's all of America, right? And what often happens is there's like no judgment to you whatsoever, but often women look at things through their perspective, through the experience that they've been able to have. So it sounds like crazy that these guys aren't being able to have sex because you guys are being propositioned with sex so often. But
yeah,
what often happens is that you forget about the guys that just work at the grocery store, the guys that just like work at like the mechanic shop, the guys that just like a kid that just is in college that has nothing really going on for himself. These guys are still in existence, and the girls that are their age are still looking for the same guys that all women are looking for. They're all looking for the top level guys because we live in social media era. So everybody can see what the best guys look like, and all the women are all going for the same guys. So what that leaves is the lower tier of men really being left with no typical options, right? So that's why
the percentage on women on that.
What was that?
18 to 24. What's the percentage on women that's having the same sex?
You want to know what's funny is that number, though it's a little lower, it's actually just increasing. Okay. Right. So women between those ages has just consistently been going up because women in the modern eras have just been, let's say, promoted to be freely promiscuous, where it's okay for you to just do whatever you'd like, sexual freedom, right? Whatever you like, your body, your choice. So that's been promoted to most women of the modern era. So more women of younger ages are becoming more promiscuous, but they're becoming more promiscuous with the same guys, right? The top tier guys, your Chris Browns, your stars of the world, right? Meanwhile, like the lower level guys are still left with nothing, quite honestly. So that's why the stats are showing out the way that they are.
No, I really think that we should just stop that narrative of like women are only trying to go for the top tier guy, because they still want to date a man who has a job, a man who's gonna treat them right. I mean, we've seen the examples with these celebrities. You can either go rich and still be getting cheated on, or unhappy and unfulfilled, or you're gonna do like who was it, Jessica Alba, and marry the waiter.
That's what the move is. I don't think anybody believes that.
I mean, it's true. She has children, she's married, that's who she ended up with, a waiter.
Fair, but I don't think that's what any woman is really looking to be able to do, to be able to take care of the man that they're with.
Different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's an extreme for sure, but the exception doesn't make the rule. Right. So I'm not going to be out here telling women if you can make enough money to be able to take care of your man, you're going to find happiness.
Before, when I thought I wanted to have children, I used to think that I wanted a house husband. I just thought it worked. I'm like, maybe if I keep him in the house, he won't cheat.
Got you. And then you realize that still
no, they find a way. They'll do it with anybody.
Well, that's kind of just like how our body is built. Not going to lie to you. We're just naturally just have a lot more thoughts about sex than most women do.
Yeah,
right?
and I think men should keep it real. Honestly, just you should step your game up, make some money, and have as many women as you can afford. Honestly, and everybody can just be happy.
One of the realest things she said all night, guys, because I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think not only should men just be real about that, they also should be real and communicate when they're getting into a relationship with a woman, what they're actually looking for, instead of trying to play games and lie and hope that she's going to be okay with it down the road, or lie when she finds out. I actually just say communicate. And if she's not looking to be with what you're actually suggesting, that's totally fine. Allow her to move on to somebody else. Right. But it's on you to be a man and communicate what you're actually looking for, and then find the girl that's going to be able to go along with that and help you be a better man with that.
I think at the same time, when did men stop asking women to be their girlfriends? You just can't assume that we go together because we fuck.
Okay, all right. So that's interesting. So nobody's really because quite honestly, I think that the guy, he should be able to, like, let's say, create the situation. It's all about leading. He should definitely move you forward throughout the different progressions. And when it comes to the time, I feel like the situation should just be, let's say, for lack of a better term, assumed, in the sense that you guys are around each other so much, you're hanging out so much, that she's asking you, like, what are we doing? At that point, you should feel extremely comfortable asking her to be your girlfriend. I think some guys fall into the situation of trying to be a little premature. And they like the girl so much that they just like, hey, can we go out? Can we be boyfriend and girlfriend? And now she's like, I don't know, nigga. Like, relax, and now you fucked up the whole situation, right? So that's more so what I let these guys know, is not to just like jump into asking her to be your boyfriend, or excuse me, your girlfriend. More so just create such a situation that you've shown her that this is what life is going to be like when you're with me. Yeah. So much so that she asks you, my nigga, what are we doing? Because I don't want no other girl to come take this. That's when you should feel comfortable moving that to the next step and letting her know, all right, I want you to be this, and this is what it's going to look like. And then, you guys move forward.
Yeah, and feel comfortable dating, like it shouldn't just be one date and boom, we go together. It's just like kind of just talk. Like, I don't know, in the age of social media, we don't just want to look at filtered pictures of each other and not really have, conversations of substance.
No, I agree. I think some people out here are just lost. I say lost in the sauce. They're just stuck. They don't know what to do with themselves. And that's why it comes down to the women being able to choose the right guys.
Yeah, and it's okay to be lost. It's just, but don't lead anyone.
I agree.
While you're
I
you're
think
figuring
that's the
it
biggest
out.
thing, quite honestly, is that as a guy, you shouldn't be looking for a relationship until you are able to provide for a woman.
Right.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And vice versa with a woman. A woman shouldn't be looking for a top tier man who can provide and do all these things if you can't provide for yourself, still living with your mom. Obviously you have to, if you have children, provide for you and yours first before you're kind of demanding somebody else to like come pick up your baggage.
100%. 100%. I think a great way to put it is like, I think both of you guys are saying this, and you let me know if I'm wrong here, is that you should come into a relationship whole, right? Where
Right.
you're not looking for somebody to fill you up, and you're not looking for somebody to make you better, but you're coming in as your best self. And then together, you guys are helping make something better for the rest of the community.
Correct.
All right. I like that. I like that. So I said that was going to be the last question. And, I know I kept you guys here for a little bit, and it seems like this was a little bit of entertainment, but I wanted to ask with this last thing, what are last thoughts? Like, what did you like the show? Did you learn anything from the show? Hate the show? You let me know.
I like the show.
Yeah.
I wish I would have been a little bit more prepared for some questions because I like to argue. No, I'm kidding.
Sure. Don't worry. We'll have more
But
comments.
yeah, it was actually my first time in this type of environment and setting. Usually the first one that I did a year ago was a financial literacy podcast. And this was actually way more fun.
Okay. Hey, well, we're glad you're enjoying the space. Maybe we'll have you back in the future sometime. And
Thank
I
you.
definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah.
This is my first time ever. So, but I definitely enjoyed it. Especially being older and little, more experienced in the dating game. But, it was very interesting, and I very much enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it too. You were very good.
Thank you.
Very good. I really enjoyed it.
what are some things that you were thinking, like, compared to like dating back in let's say when you were our age versus dating in today's age? What are some things that you like or dislike?
You know what? I like the younger dating situation. Right now, I look at my kids. I look at my both of my sons, and their dating situations now, and I have two grand kids, and it's totally different than when I was growing up, and when my mother was growing, the way she raised me and things. It's just different.
Okay.
It's totally different.
All right, I'll leave it with this. What's the biggest difference you've seen? One biggest difference.
Well, right now, women, and they can have different baby daddies and stuff. Back in the day, I was married, and I had, all my kids by the same man, and I wouldn't have had, different kids by different men. But now, my sons and my grandbabies, they have different, different baby daddies.
They loose.
Yeah.
Just they loose out here.
I don't know
All right?
if I say
You
loose.
women, you heard her. You
I
heard her.
won't
Stop
say-
being loose.
I will not say they're loose. I'm not
Stop
going to say
being
that.
loose. All right,
But it's totally different.
right.
It's
She says
different than when I
different.
grew up.
She says different. I say loose. All right. You stop being loose out
It's
there. All right?
not
And that's the
loose.
word that we're gonna leave this
But
with
it's
tonight.
different. It's
It-
definitely different.
And then I can appreciate
What?
that. I
But
can appreciate that because I think that there are some differences that are happening between now versus what was happening, what we call traditional times, right? We're joking around calling them loose and things like that. But yeah, there is some different freedoms, should we
Mhm.
say, that's making dating a little bit different. But
We have
I
options.
think if we can find a lot of options. I think if we can find like a healthy medium, if we can allow men to still be leaders, if we can allow men to still be men, I think it's on women to choose the right men because women choose relationships, women choose sex, men choose relationships. And it's on us to be able to choose the right people on both sides.
Women choose sex.
Yeah, you guys be able to choose who you're going to have sex with.
Oh, so do men.
No, men fuck who they can. Women fuck who they want. For example,
Right.
if I wanted to have sex with you and you didn't want it, it would just be called rape if I tried.
Mhm.
Right? So I fuck who I can. You fuck who you want. There's a difference. Now, when it comes to relationships, we choose the relationships. I got to get down on one knee. I got to make sure that the relationship is within the frame that I'd like.
We still have to say yes.
But do you want to have sex with everybody? You don't want to have sex with
No, of
everybody
course
you
not.
meet.
No. We don't want to have sex with
so
everybody.
you
Just like
can't-
you guys don't want to be in
so-
a relationship with everybody.
No.
That's true.
So yeah, we both have our own boundaries. We both
Yes,
have
sir.
selections,
Mhm.
right? But when it comes to these different things, right, we both are let's say, guardians of them both.
Mhm.
You are the guardians of sex. We're the guardians of relationship. Though, yes, we both have to say yes to sex. We also both have to say yes to relationships. But we're in control of if that relationship's going to happen. If you're
Mhm.
dealing with a good guy. So yeah, you guys make sure that you make the right choice with who you guys have sex with. As you guys, as men out there, make the right choice on who you're going to have relationships with.
Right. And who you're gonna have
Exactly.
babies with.
Especially that, right?
That-
Don't just be out here
that is
having no
true.
baby daddy problems. Like, get your shit together. All right. And for that, guys, we'll be back next week with another episode of the Dumb Jocks Podcast. Next Tuesday, we'll have another guest being able to give you guys some good gems on how you can make your life right. And we'll be back next week with some lovely ladies. All right. So we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Mhm.